November. Oh, good grief. We're going to play this game again. November 24th. It does not feel like it's in the 20s. But the weather service assures me that it's in the 20s. Niyamas. I would imagine that it would be useful when having polite discussions with family members that we barely see about such sedate topics as politics, religion, human rights. It would be useful to use I know that they're not sedate topics. They're crazy topics. It would be useful. Okay, let's first talk about this. We can only control ourselves, right? And even then, it's not always a certainty. We can only control ourselves, and if we're sitting there at a family gathering and we feel ourselves getting tense, getting anxious, getting riled up, we have an opportunity to implement some better choices. We have the discipline to be self-reflective. Do we have the ability to recognize whether or not we're capable of having purity of thought and intent at that moment? Or are we trying to convince somebody of something for ulterior reasons? Do we think we can honestly convince them is an even better question. Can we surrender the desire to change their minds? Surrender that desire up to the cosmos. Right, you go in there and you want to talk to this person and you want to convince this uncle or aunt or whomever. And you might just have to surrender the idea of doing that. Purity of thought, contentment, self-reflection, discipline, and surrender. The ability to recognize, the discipline to implement, the discipline to be content. Like really the whole thing, all of niyamas can start with discipline, tapas. So without the discipline to do it, to implement it, to look for it, to watch for it, to guard against impurities and impure thoughts and unhealthy ideas, without the discipline to put all of this stuff into practice, we can't really practice the other stuff. So maybe go into Thanksgiving a little gentler. Not to save anybody but yourself some strife. I'm going to surrender to this throwing of a ball. Thanks for joining me on my practice this morning. Namaste.